All right, I would like you guys to grab a whiteboard and grab a marker. Let's do a couple examples with each other before I let you guys work on your practice page. So, once you have your whiteboard and your marker, remember you can pause this if you need to. Let's do some of these problems together. The first one I want us to do is number 8. The directions say that the figures are similar, and now we have to solve for x. So, what I need you to do on your whiteboard is try this problem on your own first. Set up proportions, and then do times divide. I want you to pause the video and see how you did. But now I'm going to get started on mine. And then you can look up and see how you did. To create a proportion, you can either take 8 over 6 or 20 over x. Or you could flip it around and say this is going to be 6 over 8 and x over 20. Or you could even flip it then and say I've got this big side on the little shape is to the big side on the big shape. Or this short side on the little shape is to the short side on the big shape. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Sometimes it honestly is just easier to say like, okay, 8 is to 6 as 20 is to x and make a little fraction that way. 8 is to 6 as 20 is to x. When I say as, I want you to think like equal sign. Okay. Now to solve this problem, we're going to do the times divide trick. Remember, the times divide trick works really well if x is just by itself. To do the times divide trick, you're going to take 6 times 20, and you're going to get 120. Then you're going to take that little loner who has nobody across from himself, and you're going to divide by 8. So now we have 120. Oops, that calculator doesn't work. 120 divided by 8, and you get 15. So what I would want to see if this was on your practice page is x equals 15. All right, go ahead and erase your whiteboard. We're going to do another problem. Let's do, number 9 is the same one I believe that I put in your notes. Yeah, that's the same one in your notes, so we won't do that one. Let's try number 10. These figures are similar, find x. Pause the video, try to set up these proportions on your own. I want to see if you guys know how to put the numerators and the denominators in the right spot, okay? But remember, there's like 5 or 4 different ways you could do this. So if I do it one way, I don't want you to automatically think you were wrong. Try it on your own, see how you do. I'm gonna go, okay, short side 9 is to long side x, as short side 5 is to long side 8. Now, if you did do what I asked and try these proportions on your own, what I want you to see if you did it correct, is 9 and 8 across from one another? If 9 and 8 are across from one another, you set it up right. If 5 and x are across from one another diagonally, you set it up right. Okay, so remember, there's so many different ways you can set it up. But as long as you have those numbers across from one another, you're doing the right thing. Now I want you to try to solve for x. Use the times divide method. 9 times 8 is 72, and then divide by 5. Now obviously 72 is not going to divide by 5 very nicely, but when you do the division anyway, you're going to get 14.4. So that's what x equals. Okay, let's go and erase your whiteboard. Let's do a couple more. These figures are similar, solve for x. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can set up the proportions on your own. Now you can check in with me. I've got 9 is to 6 as 21 is to x. Okay, remember, you can double check yours because there's so many different ways you could have written this. You could have said 9 is to 21 as 6 is to x. You could have said x is to 21 as 6 is to 9. You could have done, let me think of another way. We could say 6 is to x as 9 is to 21. These are all ways you could have written it, and you know you're right by checking out who's across from one another. I want you to notice that I have 9 across from x in every single one of these, which means no matter which way I made it, it worked. With that being said, however, you do have to be careful because there are incorrect ways of setting it up. For example, if I said 9 is to x as 6 is to 21, do you notice now that 9's not across from x? That would give you the wrong answer. Okay, so you gotta be a little careful. There's lots of ways to do it right, and there's lots of ways to do it wrong. All right, let's go ahead and solve. We're gonna times, divide. 21 times 6. By the way, if you need to pause this and grab a calculator, feel free. 21 times 6, I got 126. Now we're gonna divide by the little loner who had no friends. And now I got x equals 14. Okay, so I think you guys are doing okay. I hope you're doing okay anyway. Let's see. Let's look over. I know that your practice page has a bunch of story problems, so maybe let's do some story problems on our whiteboard before we start the practice page. Okay, we've got a Mexican flag over here. A Mexican flag is 63 inches long and 36 inches wide in real life. This is a drawing of the Mexican flag. It is 11 inches long and 8.5 inches wide, unless you want to do that the opposite, I guess. No, I think that's right. This would be the length and this would be the width. It's asking, is it a similar figure? So what I want you to envision is, let's say I've got the real flag. Okay, got real flag. It is 63 inches long and 36 inches wide. Are they similar? The best way to solve this is to set up proportions. I can say 63 is to 36. Now remember, I'm starting on the big side, and then I made the little side be the denominator, so I'm going to do the same thing with the drawing. Is to 11 is to 8.5. Okay, now that we've set up the proportions, let me erase my giant flag that's taking over this page. Now that we've set up the proportions, we can check to see if they are the same. Now, I'm going to teach you right now another way to check, because obviously it's going to be weird to make these into the same fractions, right? You can actually do cross products, and if they equal the same number, then they will be proportional. Cross products just means you're doing it diagonally, right? So here's what I'm saying. Take 63 times 8.5. Okay, when I took 63 times 8.5, I got 535.5. So I just did these ones, okay? I just times them. Set it equal to. Now take 36 times 11. I got 396. These two numbers are not the same. If they were the same, then this would be a yes, they are proportional, but they're not the same. This is a big fat no. Whoops, there we go. No, they are not proportional. A quick little refresher, how we set that up. We set them up as different little fractions, right? Set them equal to each other. We did cross products. We said if this times this is equal to that, and this times this is equal to that, if they were the same number, they would be proportional, okay? Go ahead and erase your whiteboard. Let's try this last one, and then I'll let you guys work on your practice page. I'll go over the practice page a little bit with you. A student's rectangular desk. Okay, I'm going to draw a rectangular desk. A student's rectangular desk is 30 inches long and 18 inches wide. The teacher's desk is similar to the student's desk, but it has a length of 50 inches. What do you think the width is? So the problem is telling us that these are similar. So it's just like these problems we did up here with these shapes. They are similar, find x. To do that, we have to set up a proportion. Remember, there's lots of ways you can set up the proportion, but there's also lots of ways you can set up the proportion incorrectly. Let me go ahead and hide this so it's not distracting to us. Get rid of that little Mexican flag. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that 11. Okay. So here's what we got going on. I need to set up a proportion. I'm going to say long side on the student desk is to the short side of the student desk, as long side of the teacher desk is to the short side of the teacher desk. However you set it up is okay as long as 30 is across from the x and 18 is across from the 50. Now it's time to solve it. To solve this, we can do times divide. Take these two times each other, divide by the little loner. 18 times 50 is equal to 900. We're going to divide that by the loner who had no friends. Remember, you can cross out some zeros to make this easier on yourself. It's 90 divided by 3, which is 30. So, what is the side length of that desk for the teacher? 30 inches. Okay, that's all the examples that I was really hoping to do with you guys. So now what I would like you to do is get out your practice page right here. And I'm going to kind of walk over it a little bit with you, and then I'm just going to let you use the rest of this class period to get it done. Number 1 and number 2, tell if they are similar. You don't really have to explain your reasoning. If you just show me work, that is your explanation. Now, to tell if these are similar, I want you to refer back to your notes. It's just like this one. Are they similar? We set it up as 3 fractions, and then we went to go see if they equaled the same thing, okay? So do that for both of these. Set up some fractions. 20 is to 4, because that's their corresponding side lengths, right? 25 is to 5, that's the corresponding side length, and 15 is to 3. If those fractions all make the same number, then they are similar. Do the same thing with number 2. Set them up with corresponding side lengths. 9 is to 5, as 12 is to 8. See if they make the same number, either through reducing or divide them and see if they work. Number 3, in your classroom, a dry erase board is 8 feet long. Let me grab my pencil. And it's 4 feet wide, so we got 8 by 4. Your teacher makes individual dry erase boards for you to use at your desk that are 11.5 inches. Ooh, gotta be careful. And 9.5 inches. Okay, so they're trying to trick us already by changing the units. So they're wanting to know if they are similar. You guys, you have to change these to inches to be able to compare them. You can't set up a proportion with like 8 over 11.5 is to 4 over 9.5. You can't do that. You've got to change this one. You got to change these guys into inches first. Then you can set up a proportion. Number 4, you have a 4x6 photo of you and your friend. Okay, I'm going to draw my 4x6 photo, okay? You got a 4x6 photo of you and your friend. You order a 5x7 print. Is that new photo similar to the original? You're going to want to set up proportions, and then you can use cross products to tell if they're the same. For example, I'll set this up with you. 6 is to 7, as 4 is to 5. You can use cross products by timesing these two and seeing what it equals, and timesing these two and seeing what it equals. If they equal the same number, then they are proportional. If they don't equal the same number, they are not proportional. B says you're going to enlarge that original picture to 3 times the size on your computer. Will your new photo be similar to the original? Yes or no, and maybe tell me why. All right, you guys. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for doing the work on the whiteboard. When I end this video, I need you guys to have the bell ringer done and this practice page. All right, see you guys on Monday.